Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini episode, today we're going to be looking at a couple of great alien encounters. One, this witness encounters two of them in her bedroom, and another, hundreds of the little buggers apparently invade South America. We'll read the one with all the gray aliens down, in South America first, folks, which is titled, Alien Party, Hundreds of Humanoids Descend Upon Brazilian Forest. Let's get into it now by reading this brief blurb from it before we read the entire, article itself. The experiencer estimated that there was maybe more than 100 beings that were carousing and swinging on the pine trees on his land. He suddenly felt extremely honored to host an alien party on his plot of land. There were beings of different sizes and forms, but most were of human-like forms. This happened in Tessa-Polias, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, January 12th, 2011, evening. Let's get into the full story now, folks, because it sounds beyond intriguing. As the daylight ended, the experiencer heard several noises from different directions around his home, and the area was recently hit by severe rainfalls. He was very frightened as he thought there was a group of looters preparing an attack, and he was alone. He shouted out that there was nothing valuable to be taken. Later on, he came to know there was a military who obviously knew of the event and was preparing the site for what seemed to the witness to be a party. He prayed and accepted his death at the hands of looters, but as the full moon rose, the visitors, became visible. The experiencer estimated that there were maybe more than 100 beings that were carousing and swinging on the pine trees on his land. He suddenly felt extremely honored to host an alien party on his plot of land. There were beings of different sizes and forms, but most of them were of human-like forms. But I would imagine several of them were of the great alien variety, possibly representative of the tall greys and the short greys, but I would imagine that there were other alien varieties there as well, like perhaps the Pleiadians and the Reptilians. And this basically points to the fact that if the military knew about this alien party, folks, maybe the world's governments are basically hosting alien beings on our planet. Maybe this is evidence of that with this story here that we're reading through, folks. Either way, let's continue with this article and then read the next one as well. At a certain point, one of them descended in a bright ball of light at something between 10 to 20 meters from his kitchen window and stood upright in front of two men dressed in military uniforms. He guessed that they were communicating or trying to by using telepathy. They stood there for something between 30 to 60 minutes. The whole district was still without electricity, and the darkness made the witness lose notion of time. He saw several soldiers, very well disguised, in a bush in front of his kitchen window. He asked them if he could go outside if it would affect his physical integrity or disturb the ongoing event. He did not receive an answer. He then dared to go outside and sit on a rock located 5 meters from his kitchen door. He then noticed that the beings became shy and froze their swinging in the trees. The experiencer then chanted the mantra Om, which was told to him as being the sound of the universe and one of God's names. They became a little less shy and resumed their swinging in the trees. He felt that he should go back in, as he did not want to disturb the party, which carried on for several hours. He felt safe and extremely honored to host this event. He just didn't like the military ignoring him, but it was apparently their normal procedure. The following morning, there were about 4 or 5 military men trying to wipe away any possible trace the visitors might have left. But one cannot glue a broken tree. According to the witness, the event was repeated the following night. MUFON, CMS Albert S. Roselius. Apparently, MUFON and Albert S. Roselius were the ones to break this story, folks. And once again, I thank them for basically bringing this to our attention, because it's a very strange story, and indeed, we have to wonder, folks, is the military in cahoots with alien beings? Now, could it be that maybe the army, the military, maybe even our government, folks, the U.S. government, knows about this and that they allowed this event to take place because maybe this alien party was important to these beings when they visited, our planet? Maybe this was some sort of interplanetary democratic event? I don't know. The fact that, these alien beings were being observed, and I might add knowingly observed by the military, is testament to the fact that, maybe our government is in cahoots, or maybe not just our government, all governments on the planet are in dealings with these alien beings. Either way, folks, very interesting. But let's move on to the next article. 2 short gray aliens standing hand in hand in bedroom doorway. Let's now get into this account where the experiencer encountered 2 short gray alien beings, and hear exactly what transpired with this meeting and visitation by these 2 beings, folks. Maybe this event was some sort of precursor to alien abduction. Either way, let's get into the event now. This took place in San Antonio, Texas, February 19th, 2011 at 3:25 a.m. The witness was a guest at his son's house located in the Woodstone subdivision before sunrise. He was awake and lying on the bed reading a real estate investment book. He was lying on his stomach with the book propped up on the headboard and using a light on the side table next to the bed for reading. The bedroom window was open a few inches, but the blinds were shut. He suddenly heard a sound that seemed like a ping from a submarine coming from the direction of the Julia Seamus Library. He then heard the sound as if it was coming from Fountainwood in Judson Streets, and then he heard the sound a minute later right outside the bedroom window. That worried him, and he wondered how this pinging sound could get right up next to the house, since there is a wooden privacy fence 6 feet high next to the window that prevents anyone from entering the backyard. Good. Sounds very interesting, folks, indeed. How did anyone get past this fence? Maybe who did was not exactly a normal person here, folks. Either way, let's continue with this article. When he got up, he was glad the blinds were shut, and suddenly his vision was blurred by some kind of vibration wave that shot down into the room from the ceiling area, traveling through his body, through the bed and floor. There was no sound with it, but it felt that the vibrations, were coming off of a loud amplifier. He was stunned for a few seconds, and then he didn't know how it happened, but suddenly he knew that they were going to come in through the wall of the bedroom to visit him. He began screaming in his mind only, "Don't come in! Don't come in! Don't come in!" He was begging them to go away. He then felt that they changed their mind, and he suddenly began to feel that he had been respected, and they were not going to come in. Well, is that true, folks? We'll read further and find out, but let me say this for a moment, folks. Whatever this was, it sounds typical of other alien encounters, folks, where these beings can literally, seemingly pass through walls as if they were ghosts. So, are alien encounter stories more about spirits or actual physical beings? Let's read on and then we can decide for ourselves. His sense of normalcy returned. He was telling himself that he was just being silly and to stop having an overactive imagination, and decided to sit back again with his back leaning on the headboard of the bed. He moved his feet up and bent his knees so that he could put his book on his thighs and began reading again. At this point, he was facing the bedroom door to the hallway, which also gives him a view of the other bedroom door in the hall. He was the only person on the side of the house. No one else in the family woke up and heard the noise as they were asleep on the other side of the house. Suddenly, in his mind's eye, he saw two little grays standing in the doorway of the bedroom. One was about 3 feet tall, the other maybe 5 inches shorter. They were holding hands, so seemed non-threatening. There was another being in the doorway of the other bedroom, about 5 feet tall, and had a wider body and head, not quite so odd shaped as the grays' heads. No clothing or any other aspects or objects were apparent on any of the three beings. He did not feel threatened at all by their appearance. Of course, when he wiped his head to look with his real eyes, there was nothing there. Then he heard the sounds of the pinging object moving away from the house. It moved away towards Woodstone Elementary. Source: Roger Marsh, quoting Texas MUFON State Director Steve Hutchins, Albert S. Roselius. So, even more stories from Albert S. Roselius and his friends and colleagues, continuing to enlighten us on the subject of UFOs and various encounters people have had over the last several decades, folks. So this account sounds very odd. It sounds much like the first account we read through, folks, with the party. These beings are alien and very strange, and they usually leave you with something to wonder about, at the very least, folks. In this account, these beings sounded rather respectful of this man. I mean, at the very least, these entities didn't come in through the walls as if they were ghosts. No, they came in through the door to observe this man at the very least. So, while they didn't, stop, they did, basically, at the very least, conduct this visitation in a more, civilized manner by not frightening this man too badly at the very least. So very interesting there. As with the first account, both stories are truly phenomenal and intriguing. But we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics That Are Bad For You. Hit that like button for me, make sure you're still subscribed, leave some comments down below, hit that bell for notifications, hit the part of the bell that will give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.